What if that old, worn-out penny in your pocket is actually worth millions? In this video, we're uncovering the most valuable Wheat and Lincoln pennies, even in bad condition, that have shocked collectors with insane prices. From rare minting errors to hidden historical treasures, these coins prove that condition isn't everything. Don't spend another penny until you watch this. You might be holding a fortune. First up, the 1956 Wheat penny is one of the most common yet historically meaningful coins in United States coinage, and when discussing it in bad condition, it becomes even more interesting from an educational and collector's perspective because it shows how coins age, wear down, and survive through decades of circulation, handling, and environmental exposure. And this coin is part of the famous Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which began in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, whose portrait appears on the front of the coin, making it the first U.S. circulating coin to feature a real historical figure instead of symbolic imagery, and the design was created by Victor David Brenner, whose initials, VDB, can be found on some early issues, although not prominently on the 1956 version. And the reverse of the coin features two wheat stalks surrounding the denomination, 1 cent, which is why collectors commonly call these coins wheat pennies or wheat cents, and this design remained in use until 1958, just a few years after the 1956 was minted, making this coin part of the final chapter of that iconic series before the reverse was changed to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959, and the D mint mark on the coin indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the primary mints in the United States, and in 1956, the Denver Mint produced an enormous quantity of these coins, with a total mintage of approximately 1.09 billion pieces, which means that the coin is extremely common in all grades, especially in worn or circulated condition, and because of this high mintage, a 1956 wheat penny in bad condition generally holds very little monetary value, often only worth a few cents, typically between 2 cents and 10 cents depending on copper prices and collector demand. But despite this low financial value, such coins still carry historical and educational importance, especially for beginners who are learning about coin collecting, grading, and preservation. And when we say bad condition, we are referring to coins that have been heavily circulated or damaged, meaning that the fine details of the design have been worn away over time, and on the obverse, Lincoln's facial features may appear smooth and flat, with little to no detail remaining in the hair, beard, or coat, and the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1956, may be faint or partially worn, while the mint mark, D, might still be visible but could also be weak depending on the level of wear. And on the reverse side, the wheat ears that once had sharp lines and clear texture may now look almost completely smooth, with only faint outlines remaining, and the words 1 cent and United States of America may also be worn down, sometimes blending into the background, making the coin appear dull and lifeless compared to uncirculated examples. And in many cases, coins in bad condition may also show signs of damage beyond normal wear, such as scratches, dents, rim nicks, corrosion, discoloration, or even bending, all of which further reduce their collectible value. And corrosion is particularly common in copper coins like the 1956 wheat penny because copper reacts with moisture and air over time, leading to oxidation that can turn the coin dark brown, black, or even green due to the formation of copper compounds. And this green substance, often called verdigris, is a form of corrosion that can permanently damage the coin's surface, and once corrosion has set in, it is very difficult to remove without causing further damage, which is why collectors strongly advise against cleaning coins, as cleaning can strip away the natural patina and leave behind scratches or unnatural shine that reduces the coin's authenticity and desirability. And even though a badly worn 1956 penny may not be worth much in terms of money, it can still be valuable as part of a collection, especially if it helps complete a date and mint set of wheat pennies. and many collectors enjoy assembling full sets of Lincoln wheat cents from 1909 to 1958, and even the most common coins in poor condition can play a role in achieving that goal. And another aspect to consider is the possibility of mint errors or varieties, which can sometimes increase the value of a coin significantly, even if it is worn. And for the 1956 D penny, collectors may look for features such as double dies, repunched mint marks, or die cracks, although these are relatively rare and often difficult to identify on coins in bad condition because the wear may obscure the details needed to confirm the error. But it is still worth examining the coin carefully using a magnifying glass or coin loupe, as discovering an error coin can be exciting and potentially valuable. And when storing a 1956 D wheat penny in poor condition, it is still important to take basic precautions to prevent further deterioration, such as keeping the coin in a dry environment, avoiding direct handling with bare hands, and using protective holders like coin flips, capsules, or albums. And these simple steps can help preserve the coin's remaining condition and prevent additional damage over time. And from a historical perspective, the 1956 D wheat penny represents a period in American history when coins were an essential part of daily life, used for small purchases and transactions, and it reflects the economic and social conditions of the mid-20th century, making it more than just a piece of metal but a small artifact of history. And for many people, finding a wheat penny in circulation or in an old collection can spark an interest in coin collecting, leading them to learn more about different coins, their designs, and their values. And even though a 1956 D wheat penny in bad condition may not be rare or expensive, it still has a story to tell, and it serves as a reminder that even the most ordinary objects can carry historical significance and educational value. And in the world of numismatics, every coin, no matter how worn or damaged, has its place and purpose, whether as a collectible item, a teaching tool, or a connection to the past. And therefore, while you should not expect to make a profit from a badly worn 1956 D wheat penny, you can still appreciate it for what it represents and use it as a stepping stone to explore the fascinating hobby of coin collecting in greater depth. Next up, the 1957 D wheat penny is one of the last issues of the famous Lincoln wheat cent series, and even in bad condition, it remains an important and educational coin for collectors, historians, and beginners who want to understand how coins age, circulate, and lose detail over time. And this coin belongs to the long-running series first introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, making it one of the most recognizable coins in American history, with Lincoln's portrait on the obverse symbolizing leadership and unity, while the reverse features two wheat stalks surrounding the words, 1 cent, representing agriculture and economic growth. And by 1957, this design was nearing the end of its life because it would soon be replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial reverse, meaning that the 1957 D penny is part of the final chapter of the wheat penny era, which adds to its historical importance even if its monetary value is low in worn condition. And the D mint mark on the coin indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint, which struck a very large number of these coins in 1957, with a total mintage of approximately 1,051,342,000 pieces, making it extremely common and widely available in circulated grades. And because of this high mintage, a 1957 D wheat penny in bad condition is generally not rare or valuable, typically worth only a few cents above face value, often ranging from 2 cents to 10 cents depending on copper prices and collector demand, although its real value lies more in its historical significance and its role in helping collectors complete a full set of wheat pennies. And when we talk about a coin being in bad condition, we are referring to heavy wear, damage, or environmental effects that have significantly reduced the clarity and detail of the design. And on the obverse of a worn 1957 D penny, Lincoln's face may appear flat and smooth, with little to no visible detail in the hair, beard, or clothing, and the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1957, may be faint or partially worn, while the small d Mint mark below the date might still be visible but could also be weak or partially obscured, and on the reverse, the wheat ears that once had sharp lines and texture may now appear almost completely smooth, with only faint outlines remaining, and the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, may also be worn down or blended into the background, giving the coin a dull and aged appearance. And in addition to normal wear from circulation, coins in bad condition often show other forms of damage such as scratches, dents, rim nicks, discoloration, or corrosion. And since the 1957 wheat penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, it is particularly susceptible to oxidation, which can cause the surface to darken to a brown or black color, or even develop green corrosion known as verdigris when exposed to moisture, and this type of damage is usually permanent and significantly reduces the coin's visual appeal and collector value. And one of the most important things to understand is that cleaning such coins is not recommended, as it can remove the natural patina and leave behind scratches or unnatural shine that further decreases the coin's desirability among collectors. And despite its low value in poor condition, the 1957 wheat penny can still be interesting because of potential mint errors or varieties, such as double dies or die cracks, although these are relatively rare and often difficult to identify on heavily worn coins because the details needed to confirm them may have been worn away. But it is still worth examining the coin carefully with a magnifying glass or coin loupe, as discovering an error coin can increase its value significantly, and even if no errors are present, the coin can still serve as a valuable learning tool for understanding coin grading, which is the process of evaluating a coin's condition using standardized categories such as good G4, about good AG3, or poor P1, and a 1957 penny in bad condition would typically fall into one of these lower grades, where only the basic outline of the design remains visible. And from a historical perspective, this coin represents a time when pennies were widely used in everyday transactions in the United States, and it reflects the economic and social environment of the late 1950s, just before significant changes in coin design and composition occurred in later decades. And for collectors, even a worn 1957 wheat penny can be meaningful because it connects them to that period of history and serves as a reminder of how coins were used and circulated in daily life. And many collectors enjoy assembling complete sets of wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958, and even the most common and worn coins are necessary to complete such a set, making them important despite their low individual value. And proper storage is still important even for coins in bad condition, as keeping them in a dry environment and using protective holders can prevent further deterioration and preserve what remains of their condition. And in conclusion, while a 1957 wheat penny in bad condition is not rare or highly valuable in terms of money, it still holds educational, historical, and collectible value, making it a worthwhile addition to any collection, especially for beginners who are just starting to explore the fascinating world of coin collecting, where every coin, no matter how worn or common, has a story to tell and a place in the broader history of currency and trade. Next up, the 1987 Lincoln penny is a modern-era United States coin that may look very ordinary, especially in bad condition, but it still carries important details about coin production, metal composition, circulation wear, and collector interest. And understanding this coin in poor condition helps beginners and collectors learn how modern pennies behave over time compared to older copper coins like wheat pennies. And this coin features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, continuing a tradition that began in 1909, while the reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial Building, a design that was introduced in 1959 and remained in use until 2008, making the 1987 penny part of a long-running and highly familiar design era in American coinage. And the small d mint mark under the date indicates that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced a very large number of pennies in 1987, with a total mintage of over 4.6 billion coins, making it extremely common and easy to find even today, especially in circulated condition. And because of this high mintage, A 1987 D penny in bad condition has very little monetary value and is typically worth only its face value of 1 cent, or slightly more if copper prices or collector demand temporarily increase, but unlike older pennies made primarily of copper, the 1987 penny is composed mostly of zinc 97.5% with a thin copper coating 2.5%, and this difference in composition plays a major role in how the coin looks and deteriorates over time, especially in poor condition, because when the copper plating is damaged or worn away, the zinc core underneath can begin to corrode, leading to bubbling, pitting, and rough surfaces that are commonly seen on modern pennies in bad condition, and this type of damage is very different from the smooth wear seen on older copper coins, and it often gives the coin an unattractive and heavily degraded appearance. And when evaluating a 1987 D penny in bad condition, you may notice that Lincoln's face appears flat and lacking detail, with the hair and facial features worn down, and the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1987, may be faint or partially worn, although they are usually still readable unless the coin is extremely damaged, and on the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial Building may appear worn with reduced detail, and in very poor condition, the columns of the building may blend together or become indistinct, while the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, may also appear weak or faded, and in addition to wear from circulation, coins in bad condition often show signs of environmental damage such as discoloration, dark spots, or corrosion, especially if they have been exposed to moisture, chemicals, or harsh conditions, and one of the most noticeable issues with modern pennies like the 1987 D is zinc corrosion, which can create a rough, uneven surface and sometimes cause the coin to develop holes or flaking areas where the copper plating has broken down, and this type of damage significantly reduces the coin's appeal and makes it undesirable for most collectors. And another important factor to consider is cleaning, as many people attempt to clean old or dirty coins to improve their appearance, but this is strongly discouraged because cleaning can damage the surface, remove the natural tone, and leave behind scratches or unnatural shine that reduces the coin's value even further. And even though a 1987 D penny in bad condition is generally not valuable, there are still some rare cases where such coins can be worth more, particularly if they have mint errors or unusual features, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet errors, although these are rare and often difficult to identify on worn coins, but it is still worth checking carefully using a magnifying glass or coin loupe, as discovering an error coin can increase its value significantly, and for collectors, even a common coin like the 1987 D penny can serve as a useful learning tool, helping them understand the differences between copper and zinc coins, the effects of wear and corrosion, and the basics of coin grading, which is the process of evaluating a coin's condition using standardized categories such as good G4, about good AG3, or poor P1, and a heavily worn or damaged 1987 D penny would typically fall into one of these lower grades, where only the basic outline of the design remains visible. And from a historical perspective, the 1987 D penny represents a period in U.S. coinage when the composition of pennies had already shifted from copper to zinc, a change that began in 1982 due to rising copper prices, and this makes the coin part of the modern era of coin production, where cost efficiency and mass production became more important. And despite its low value in bad condition, the coin still has educational and historical significance, especially for those interested in the evolution of coin design and materials. And for beginners, collecting such coins can be a starting point for learning more about numismatics. And even though a worn 1987 D penny is unlikely to be worth more than a few cents, it can still be kept as part of a collection, used for practice in grading, or simply appreciated as a small piece of everyday history, and proper storage is still recommended even for coins in poor condition, as keeping them in a dry environment and avoiding excessive handling can prevent further deterioration. And in conclusion, while the 1987 D Lincoln penny in bad condition is not rare or valuable in monetary terms, it still provides valuable insights into coin composition, where, and the history of modern U.S. coinage, making it a useful and interesting item for collectors and learners alike, and it demonstrates that even the most common coins can have educational value and help build knowledge in the fascinating world of coin collecting. Next up, the 1965 Lincoln penny is one of the most historically important coins in modern United States coinage, and when found in normal or good condition, not damaged or heavily worn, it becomes even more interesting for collectors because it represents a major transition period in U.S. minting history, and this coin continues the long tradition of featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that began in 1909 and remains one of the most recognizable portraits in the world of coins, while the reverse side displays the Lincoln Memorial Building, which was introduced in 1959 to replace the earlier Wheat Ears design, symbolizing a shift from agricultural imagery to a more national monument-focused theme. And one of the most important facts about the 1965 penny is that it was produced during a time of major coin shortage in the United States, which led the government to make several changes in coin production, including the temporary removal of mint marks from coins between 1965 and 1967, meaning that even though these pennies were struck at different mints such as Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, they do not carry any mint mark, and this is why the 1965 Lincoln penny is often referred to as a no mint mark coin, which can sometimes confuse beginners who may think the coin is rare, but in reality, it is extremely common, with a mintage of over 1.8 billion coins, making it widely available in all grades, especially in circulated condition. And when we talk about a 1965 penny in good or normal condition, we are referring to coins that still retain a decent amount of their original detail, with Lincoln's facial features clearly visible, including the hair, beard, and coat lines, and the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1965, appearing sharp and readable, while on the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial Building shows visible columns and structure, and in higher grades, you can even see the tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, which is one of the most fascinating details of this design, and the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, appear bold and clear, giving the coin an overall attractive and well-preserved appearance. And another important aspect of the 1965 penny is its composition, as it is made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc, unlike later pennies after 1982, which are mostly zinc with a thin copper coating, and this higher copper content gives the coin a richer color and makes it more resistant to certain types of damage compared to modern pennies, and depending on its level of preservation, a 1965 penny can appear in different color categories such as red (RD), red-brown (RB), or brown (BN), with red coins being the most desirable because they retain their original mint luster and bright copper color. And in terms of value, a 1965 Lincoln penny in normal circulated condition is generally worth between 1 cent and 5 cents, while coins in better condition, such as uncirculated examples, can be worth more, sometimes reaching $1 or higher depending on their grade and color, and particularly high-grade coins certified by professional grading services can sell for even higher prices among serious collectors. And while most 1965 pennies are common, there are some rare varieties and errors that can increase their value significantly, such as double die errors, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. Although these are uncommon and require careful examination to identify, and collectors often use magnifying tools to inspect coins for such features, and if a potential error is found, it may be worth having the coin evaluated by an expert or grading service. And one of the key reasons the 1965 penny is so interesting is its connection to the broader economic conditions of the time, as the coin shortage of the mid-1960s led to changes not only in mint marks but also in coin composition for other denominations, making this coin part of a significant period of transition in U.S. history. And for collectors, owning a 1965 penny in good condition is a way to connect with that moment in time, and it also serves as an excellent example for learning about coin grading, preservation, and the factors that influence value, and proper care is important even for common coins, as storing them in a dry environment, avoiding excessive handling, and using protective holders can help maintain their condition and prevent deterioration over time. And in conclusion, the 1965 Lincoln penny in normal or good condition is not rare but is historically significant, offering insight into a unique period of U.S. coinage, and while it may not be highly valuable in monetary terms, it is still an important and worthwhile addition to any collection, especially for those who appreciate the history, design, and evolution of coins, and it demonstrates that even common coins can hold great meaning and educational value when properly understood and appreciated. Please like and subscribe to my channel.